You know, I was trying to think about what I wanted to do for my next video, and then all of a sudden, I'm sitting here waiting for the Halo Season 3 update to go live. So I'm bored, waiting for the update, and then I go surfing through Twitter because I'm bored, and I run into some person, I don't know what their gender is, so I'm just gonna say person, who was just capping hard on dub voice actors who work in anime in the US. And I'm like, well, what's going on? What is all this talk? And it's coming from the same account. By the way, I'm still waiting for the update. I was hoping to sleep through it, but I woke up a lot earlier than expected. So that's what we're going to cover today, is one of my favorite topics, anime and dubbing in general. Before we start, hit that like, subscribe button, and share this with people who are unaware about how things work in the anime industry here in the US. It can be a bit complex, especially when you start talking about pay and how it is that these dubs are made, because there's a lot of time and work that's put into them. Like, don't take my word for it. Go take a clip of your favorite anime, try and dub it, and let's see how easy it is to get a credible take. I'll be honest with you, this might be a bit more of a longer video. Now, I'm not going to link or tell you the name of this troll because I know they're just doing this for attention. And by giving them that attention, it's feeding into them and so on and so forth. But I will start breaking down some of the things that were said and what the actual facts are, because it's pretty clear this person just pulled this out of their ass. For those who don't know, working in anime, at least in the US, it doesn't pay a lot. It looks great on a voice acting resume, sure, but it does not pay a lot. And it's very hard to do. Why do we do it? Because, well, we enjoy it. A lot of us enjoy it, and in other cases, people end up in anime because they were already involved in voiceover, like commercial, audiobooks, and then their agent said, hey, want to try anime? Because it falls under character work. There are plenty of ways that people got into anime. That's just one to list off. Also, full disclosure, we are talking about dubs, not subs. I don't live in Japan. I don't know how it works there, so I'm not the person to ask about that or talk about it. Rule 101, talk about stuff that you know about. Okay, don't just pull stuff out and pass it off as truth. So, why is it so difficult to work in anime? First off, it's actually kind of difficult to get into anime. I speak from experience, okay? In fact, I did an audition for anime. I didn't get it, but what I had to do was send in clips of my dubbing ability. What dubbing means is to translate from one language to another language. And how that's used in anime is you dub it from Japanese into English. There's a bunch of other places dubbing is used that is not anime related, but for the sake of this, we'll just keep it simple. That's the first part. Now, on to the more difficult part. So, as the voice actor, your job is to do that. So you stand or sit there with two screens in front of you and a microphone. On one screen is your script, which has a specialized format that is in a grid shape, and now on the other screen is the scene you'll be dubbing over. What then happens after that is you will watch the scene maybe 1 or 2 times. Professionals usually have to watch it like 1 or 2 times. And then after that comes the process of dubbing it. So that third time, what will happen is the scene will play, and then you'll hear beeps, about 3 beeps. And on that third beep, you immediately start talking. You have to take what's on the script screen, we'll call it the right screen, and make sure that everything coming out of your mouth on the right screen matches up perfectly with the lip movements of the character in the scene on the left screen. If something goes wrong and you miss it, depending on what went wrong, either an audio engineer can fix it or you gotta do it all over again. Doesn't stop there. You're not just talking. You also have to act while doing all of this. So your eyes are literally going back and forth between 2 screens while making sure that you are believably acting out that scene in a different language. So I'm explaining how the dubbing process works because also according to this person's tweet, they are stating they are lazy dub actors, inferior to Japanese actors, and terrible people. On a side note, this is what happens when you spend too much time online thinking that you know people who you don't actually know. I do know people who work in the industry, and I know for a fact they are great people. They help me elevate my game as an actor to the next level. Shout out to my coaches. I really appreciate all the advice and coaching you have given me. Alright, so that's the first part. Now, let's talk about pay, because how this whole thing started was the person said, quite frankly, this is overpaying English dub actors as far as I'm concerned, referring to an article, which I will link, on how actors in anime get paid $35 an hour. $35 an hour, that sounds pretty good, right? Yeah, wrong. Let's say it is $35 an hour, just for argument's sake. A regular 9-to-5 job, $35 an hour, that's gold right there. Anyways, that is for a 9-to-5 job that you are required to show up for at most for 40 hours, which is full-time work. And then after that, if you start getting overtime and double time, then you even get more money. It's a pretty simple process. I've been through it. Probably most of the people listening to it have been through it or in the middle of being through it. It does not work the same way when it comes to voicing an anime. In anime, yeah, you could get paid per hour, but it's not like a 9-to-5 job. You're called in to record. There's probably about a minimum of 2 hours, and then you get paid 35 for those 2 hours, but you're not working a regular shift. You're called in when needed. And then eventually the project wraps up after about 12 episodes, in which you were called in maybe a few days out of the week to record your lines. You had a session that had a 2-hour minimum that you got paid 35 for each hour. Add in 4 more hours of session time, and then you get paid 35 for those. And you did that maybe 2 to 3 times out of the week. And then finally, the 12 episode series is over. So after all that, the project's already over, and guess what? You are now back to looking for a new gig. And this is assuming you do not have multiple paths of income coming in. It's just dubbing anime. This is when you start to notice a good booking ratio starts to really affect being able to pay off your bill. That's an example, and that should explain to you that you can't live off of that unless you're booking high-paying work consistently, at least. So to say $35 is an overpayment to voice actors, that's ridiculous, because it's not like a 40-hour 9-to-5 job. As we can clearly see, the person did not do their homework at all and just came up with it. What is 35 bucks gonna buy me? It's gonna buy me a plate of tacos on Taco Tuesday, guaranteed. Is it gonna pay my rent? Hell no. Now, where the prices go from there, that you would have to look up, but I can guarantee you, you're not making enough to sustain a livable wage. In fact, most people that try to get into anime, they don't realize you're going to have more than just one avenue than anime to support yourself and live off of. One of the most lucrative paying genres in voiceover is commercial. Because unlike anime, for 1 gig you could get paid $600, and then after that it just goes up from there. But in anime and other character-based work, you could get paid probably $240 for an entire job, and that's all you made. Commercials are the ones that pay a lot of money, whereas character, they don't pay that much money. They're really fun to do, but most times you can't live off of that. So actors have to get creative and start finding other ways to use their talents to bring in money to support themselves. So clearly when this person made that statement, they had absolutely no idea on how it works when it comes to paying voice actors. So that's a cut and dry version of how pay works in anime. If you want more details, you could find answers to this online. To name one, the GVAA rate guide. And I'll throw a link to that in the description as well. The person also started mouthing off about how a new dubbed version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in AI was so much better than what the original was. And well, it's not true. That's just more pulling on bull that you really have no idea what you're talking about just to get a response from people. But yeah, that should cover it. You leave your thoughts in the comments below. I might make an updated video for pricing later, as I just mentioned. And I think this just boils down to making sure you know what it is you're talking about instead of thinking about the first thing that sounds intelligent, and then the moment it comes out your mouth, it just sounds stupid. Because if I hear things like, oh, voiceover is easy, I'll pull out a library of scripts and say, all right, do it right now. Because that also came up, and it's not true. People train hard to be in voiceover, and it's a very competitive field that requires skill, tenacity, faith, just to name a few things. So if you're not willing to back up your criticism, then shut your mouth. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, leave your comments in the section below. If you have updates on pricing in the field, feel free to post those down there too. And I'm gonna go play Halo Season 3 because it finally downloaded. I'll see you around.
Take down your targets quickly.